You might as well go open up Goodreads and prepare to place a pre-order because I'm about to add some new books to your TBR. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Bree and this is 4 Paws in a Book. Today we're going to be talking about some 2025 anticipated releases, specifically in the first quarter of the year. I definitely have like a full list of books that I am excited that are going to be coming out this year, but I wanted to focus on the first quarter, the first 3 months of the year, and talk about some books that I am super excited about. Publishing dates always change, and even when I do it at a 3-month interval, sometimes I'm wrong. But this gives me a little bit more of a concrete date. A lot of times these books are already open for pre-order, and also I'm not anxiously awaiting something that is 8 months away. I only have to wait a few months. So today I have 14 books that I want to talk to you about. They are ranging from romance to fantasy to horror. I have a wide range of things. I don't have all of them pre-ordered, but I do have some, and I have some arcs for some of them. And then there are some that are just on my radar. I am excited about reviews and see what people are saying about them before I pick them up, perhaps. We'll see. We'll go in chronological order, so we will start with the January releases. Starting on the 7th, we have Adrifts in Currents, Clean and Clear by Seanan McGuire. This is the 10th Wayward Children book. There's 10 of these. This starts out with Every Heart a Doorway, which is a beloved book here on YouTube, and each book is a novella. They're about 150 pages, and depending on the book, we either focus on one person or there's kind of a group of people that we are following, and this one is Nadia's story. Nadia never considered herself less than whole, not until her adoptive parents fitted her with a prosthetic arm against her will, seeking to replace the one she'd been missing since birth. It was cumbersome, it was uncomfortable, it was wrong. It wasn't her. Frustrated and unable to express why, Nadia began to wonder until the day she fell through the door into Bellereka, the land beneath the lake, and found herself in a world of water filled with child-eating amphibians, majestic giant turtles, and impossible ships that sailed as happily beneath the surface as on top. In Bellereka, she found herself understood for who she was, a drowned girl who had made her way to her real home, accepted by the river and its people. But even in Bellereka, there are dangers and trials, and Nadia would soon find herself fighting to keep hold of everything she had come to treasure. I absolutely love this series. It is one of the books that is near and dear to my heart. I will likely be making this the first book of 2025, as I do have an e-arc for it, and it's kind of become a tradition that I read it on New Year's Day. There are 2 books coming out on January 14th that I am excited about. The first one is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I have enjoyed a lot of what Grady Hendrix has written. Not everything, but I have enjoyed his books, and he tends to have like a lighter, almost humorous side to horror, but this sounds so different. They call them wayward girls, loose girls, girls who grew up too fast, and they're sent to the Wellwood home in St. Augustine, Florida, where unwed mothers are hidden by their families to have their babies in secret, to give them up for adoption, and most important of all, to forget it ever happened. This book takes place in the summer of 1970. We have Fern, who is 15 years old. She arrives at this home. She's terrified and alone. Under the watchful eye of stern Mrs. Wellwood, she meets a dozen other girls in the same predicament. There's Rose, a hippie who insists she's going to find a way to keep her baby and escape to a commune. We have Zinnia, a budding musician who knows she's going to go home and marry her baby's father. And then there's Holly. She is barely 14, she's mute, and she's pregnant, but no one knows by who. Everything that the girls do at this home is strictly controlled by the adults who claim they know what's best for them. Then Fern meets a librarian who gives her an occult book about witchcraft, and power is in the hands of the girls for the first time. But power can destroy as easily as it creates, and it is never given freely. There's always a price to be paid, and it's usually in blood. This definitely sounds very different than something like Horror Store or even How to Sell a Haunted House, but I fully trust Grady Hendrix. I love the idea of it being set in the 70s. That's not something that I read a lot of, and it's just, this one sounds exciting. Also coming out on the 14th is Heavenly Bodies by Imani Araru, I think is how you say the name. This is actually a book that was self-published and is now being traditionally published. The redesigned cover is stunning. This is, I believe, a trilogy, and it has gotten a lot of praise. A lot of people loved it when it was self-published, and I just didn't get on the boat soon enough, and so now I have to wait for it to be traditionally published. In a world ruled by stars, cruel and merciless gods, Alara has been cursed by fate. A prophecy promises she will fall for a star, but that it will kill them both. Yet when the Star of Wrath and War descends to hunt Alara, the neighboring kingdom sees an opportunity to take her from her home, the Kingdom of Night, to Helios, the Kingdom of Light, where she strides straight into the arms of an enemy prince. There, Alara is forced to either let Prince Lorenzo train her into a weapon worthy of battling against the tyrannical reign of the stars, or to accept her fate. But there are shadows even within the Kingdom of Light, and they threaten to reveal the darkness in Lorenzo's past and the ancient magic that slumbers in Alara's veins. And with it all, the undeniable star-crossed pull between them. This sounds like a really unique magic system with light and darkness and this like celestial magic, which is something that I absolutely love, and it also is very unique to romantasy. There's only so many ways that romantasy can be done, and I love it when authors try to find new and unique and creative ways to tell these stories. Then on January 21st, we have the long-awaited Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This is the third book in the Fourth Wing series, and I am so excited about this one. I was in the minority opinion where I really enjoyed Iron Flame. I actually liked it more than Fourth Wing, and I think that this one is going to be fantastic as well. The stakes are higher than ever. There is a war brewing. The battle has truly begun, with enemies closing in from outside their walls and within their ranks. It's impossible to know who to trust. They need an army. They need power. They need magic. There is a storm coming, and not everyone will survive its wrath. This is a book that I will definitely be reading, like literally on release day. I'm very, very excited about it. I actually kind of plan on doing a dedicated reading vlog for it. I don't know that that'll happen because one book reading vlogs are scary, and I don't have that much to say about a book, but I'm gonna try. Then I have two books that I am excited about that are coming out on January 28th. The first one is Iron and Embers by Helen Schroer. This is the first book in the Ashes of Thesmar series. Now this is a spin-off series to the Blood and Steel series, which I have not read. The only book that I have actually read from Helen is Slaying the Shadow Prince, and I absolutely loved it. I am obsessed with her writing, and so this one I immediately wanted to pick up. This is her first traditionally published book, and I don't know if you can read this one outside of reading Blood and Steel, because I know all of her books are kind of interconnected, where they are like taking place in the same world, but they are different characters. But I imagine that these characters have definitely had appearances in the Blood and Steel series. This one may be a book that I can't read right away, but it's definitely on my radar. I would like to read the Blood and Steel series, especially if it's going to spoil this new book. Or this book will spoil that one. I don't know. Let me know. If you have read this or you know, please let me know if I can read this one or if I need to read Blood and Steel first. But Helen writes such like stabby main characters. They are badass and they are kind of like take no shit kind of characters, which I absolutely love in romantasy. Ren Embervale, an alchemist turned assassin, finds solace in only one thing: seeking vengeance for the death of her friends. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a book that I'm going to have to read the first one because I don't know who died. The wars of the past may be over, but her thirst for revenge is far from quenched. Anyways, very excited about it. Definitely in my romantasy era right now, and this one sounds amazing. Okay, let's switch gears completely and talk about a thriller that I am excited about, and that is We Are Watching by Allison Galen. This is the same author who wrote The Collective that I read, I believe, last year. Time is weird. Anyways, it was my first 5-star of the year that I read it. It was fantastic. It's this like feminine rage, vigilante kind of book where this mother takes it upon herself to bring justice to men, essentially. Definitely a popcorn thriller, but so much fun, and I was on the edge of my seat, and so I'm hoping that this will be the same. It's an all too frighteningly plausible tale of psychological suspense where a single mother is desperate to protect her family as they become targets of a group of violent conspiracy theorists. This sounds terrifyingly close to home. Meg Russo was behind the wheel when it happened. She and her husband Justin were driving their daughter Lily to Ithaca College, the family celebrating the 18-year-old music prodigy's future. Then a car comes up beside them, the young men inside behaving erratically. The Russo's car goes off the road and Justin does not survive the accident. 4 months later, Meg works to distract herself from the grief, reopening her small local bookstore. But soon after returning to work, bizarre messages and visitors begin to arrive, with strangers threatening Meg and vandalizing the store. They are obsessed with a young adult novel titled The Prophecy, which was published 20 years earlier. An online group of believers are convinced that the book predicted a plague, and social media posts link it to Satanism. People are sure that it heralds the apocalypse, and conspiracy theorists vow to seek revenge on its author. Meg. As the threats turn violent, Meg begins to suspect that Justin's death may not have been an accident. To find the answers and to save herself and Lily, she must get to the root of the lies fueling these people to come after them, and to find a way to face them head on. I am always intrigued by books about conspiracy theories and just like unhinged thrillers, so I feel like this is going to be a fantastic time. All right, I'm gonna give you whiplash with all of the directions that we are going today, but moving into February, the first one we have is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. You're like, Brie, you're putting an Ali Hazelwood book on your most anticipated books of the year? Yes, I am, okay? Ali continues to surprise me because I will hate a book and then I loved a book. So I don't know what's going on. This is a swimming romance. Didn't know I needed that in 2025, but here we are. This is about a competitive diver and a swimmer. One of our main characters is asexual, definitely representation that we want to see more of, not something that you typically see, and I'm excited to see that representation. Scarlett is a junior at Stanford. She is a student athlete who specializes in platform diving. She prefers to keep her head down, concentrating, getting into med school, and recovering from the injury that almost ended her career. She has absolutely no time for relationships. At least that's what she tells herself. Then we have our swim captain, our golden boy, Lucas, who thrives on discipline. It's how he wins gold medals and how he breaks records. Complete focus with every stroke. On the surface, Lucas and Scarlett have nothing in common until a well-guarded secret slips out and everything changes. So they start an arrangement. As the pressure leading to the Olympics heats up, so does their relationship. It was supposed to be just a temporary, mutually satisfying fling, but when staying away from Lucas becomes impossible, Scarlett realizes that her heart might be treading into dangerous water. This sounds like it's going to be corny, going to be funny. It has like so many water and swimming puns just in the synopsis alone, but I think that every once in a while you need something lighthearted, something fun, and you know, I can't say I've ever read a swimming romance before. On February 18th, we have The Vengeful Dead by Darcy Coates. Now, I can't tell you a ton about this book because it's book 5 in the Gravekeeper series, and the synopsis definitely spoils the previous 4 books, specifically the last one, and this one definitely feels like it's going to be a ramp up from where we left off in the 4th book. Now, I do think that the 4 books together can kind of stand on their own, and this next book kind of feels like a new jump. It feels like season 2 almost. But we're definitely going to be fighting the big bad that we discovered in book 4, and you know, they've been wreaking havoc on the town and the dead, and yeah, I can't go much more into detail than that. But book 4 was very action-packed, very fast-paced, and based on the synopsis of book 5, this one also feels like it's going to be that way too. Darcy Coates is basically an auto-buy author for me. I am definitely trying to read all of her backlist, and I have read a lot of her books over the past 2 years, and I'm excited to see how this book will ramp up. The first book kind of starts out almost as like a cozy horror, but we are definitely getting more into this action-packed, almost verging on thriller, but with paranormal and ghost and things like that. It's definitely had a vibe switch to it, but I'm here for the ride. And then my last book for February comes out on February 25th, and that is Wicked Pursuit by Katie Robert. This is a spin-off to the Wicked Villains series. It is loosely related to some of the characters that are in the Wicked Villains, which is, you know, also related to the Dark Olympus. She just has kind of a Katie Roberts cinematic universe. Welcome to the Black Rose Auction, where every sin can be yours for a price. For 3 days, the doors to this luxe New York estate are thrown wide open for anyone with a taste for the obscenely rich, the ultra-exclusive, and the once-in-a-lifetime thrill of the forbidden. Nothing is off the table, and everything and everyone can be had for the taking. Wicked Pursuit is a dark Little Red Riding Hood remix, which just sounds so fascinating. It has a mob princess who has a taste for doing things that maybe she shouldn't, and she acquires a stalker who will kill anyone who touches what's his. It's Katie Robert. It's gonna be a smutty good time. I'm here for this. Please sign me up. Moving on into March 4th, okay? My wallet's gonna hurt a little bit. I have 3 anticipated releases, 2 of them being probably some of my most anticipated releases of the year. The first one being You Killed Me First by John Mars. John Mars is quickly becoming an auto-buy author for me. I have loved what he has written. I have so much fun with his books. And this one sounds really interesting as well. 3 women, 3 smoldering secrets. Who will make it out alive? It's the 5th of November, and a woman awakens to a nightmare. Bound and gagged, she lies trapped in the heart of a towering bonfire. As the smoke thickens, panic sets in. She's moments away from being engulfed in flames. How did it come to this? Rewind 11 months. Margot, a faded TV star, and her long-suffering friend Anna watch as glamorous Liv and her flawless family move into their street. The three women soon fabricate the perfect pretense of a friendship, but each harbors her own deadly secret, and the newcomer Liv senses something is terribly wrong beneath the polished exteriors. As the cracks widen in the veneer of perfection and lies escalate out of control, tension ignites. Bonfire night is approaching and someone is set to burn. But who will it be? Catty women, drama, little like reality TV. I mean, we've got Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on fire. John Mars always has excellent social commentary, and I have a feeling that this is going to be no exception. Also coming out on March 4th, we have Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reed. Now, I absolutely loved Juniper and Thorn by this author, but I DNF'd to Steady and Drowning, so we're 50-50 with this author. But the tagline got me here, okay? The Last of Us meets Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Those are two absolutely crazy comp titles. It's a standalone dystopian romance about survival, sacrifice, and a love that risks everything. Dystopian books have definitely had like their time in the sun, and there are some that are definite hits for me. They are a bit of a hard sell, but I have hope for this one, and I don't know why. By encouraging massive accumulations of debt from its underclass, a single corporation controls all aspects of society. Anessa lives with her brother in a half-sunken town where they scrape by, running a taxidermy shop. Unbeknownst to Anessa, their cruel and indolent mother has accrued an enormous debt, enough to qualify one of her children for Karis's, that's the company, I don't know how to pronounce that, live-streamed assassination spectacle, The Lamb's Gauntlet. Okay, I see where we're getting Hunger Games. Melano is a Karis assassin trained to track and kill the sacrificial lambs. The product of neural reconditioning and physiological alteration, she is a living weapon known for her cold brutality and deadly beauty. She has never failed to assassinate one of her marks. When Anessa learns that her mother has offered her as a sacrifice, at first she despairs. The gauntlet is always a bloodbath for the impoverished debtors. But she's had years of practice surviving the apocalyptic waste, and with the help of her hunter brother, she might stand a chance of staying alive. For Melano, this is a game she can't afford to lose. Despite her reputation for mercilessness, she's haunted by painful flashbacks. After her last gauntlet, where she broke down on the live stream, she desperately needs redemption. As Mel pursues Anessa across the wasteland, both girls begin to question everything. Anessa wonders if there's more to life than survival, while Mel wonders if she's capable of more than killing. It's gonna be gay. I have hope for this book, okay? I don't know why, but I think I'm gonna love it. Fingers crossed. Then we have probably my most anticipated book of the entire year, potentially. That is The Rag Picker King by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book following Swordcatcher, which was my favorite book of last year, and I am dying to get back into this world. While this is not a fantasy romance, it definitely has like that underlying romantic subplot, and it's a really, really good balance. I think that if you loved the David trilogy, this would definitely be a good series for you, and this one is obviously going to be following a lot of the events that happened in Swordcatcher. I will probably do a reread because I don't remember what happened. That was a whole year ago. But we have Kel, who is the body double or the sword catcher to the prince, and basically he, with like some illusion magic, can be the prince and can like look like the prince, so that way if someone tries to assassinate the prince, they aren't actually doing it, they're just assassinating Kel. And then we have Lynn, who may have falsely claimed to be the goddess reborn. Oops, that probably wasn't smart. Anyways, tensions are building. Lynn and Kel must decide who to trust when any false move means death or worse. I am so excited for this book, and I also really, really hope that Illumicrate does a special edition of this one as well. They've been pretty good about doing sequels, and so I'm really hopeful because the version that they did for Swordcatcher was stunning. Then on March 18th, we have the highly anticipated Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This is another prequel in the Hunger Games world, and this is the 50th Hunger Games, or the second quarter quell. So So in the original trilogy, we have the 74th and 75th Hunger Games, and then we go all the way back and we look at some of the origins with Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And so now we're going to be jumping forward a little bit to Haymitch's story, and I cannot be more excited about this. Okay, we know who Haymitch is in the original trilogy. I mean, he's a drunk, he like kind of hates tradition, he is, you know, just there. He's there, okay? But he also has a lot of anger, and I think that this is going to explore the reason why. This year, in honor of the Quarter Quell, twice as many tributes will be taken from their home. Back in District 12, Haymitch Abernathy is trying not to think too hard about his chances. All he cares about is making it through the day and being with the girl that he loves. When Haymitch's name is called, he can feel all his dreams break. He's torn from his family and his love. He's shuttled to the capital with the 3 other District 12, a young friend who's nearly a sister to him, a compulsive odds maker, and the most stuck-up girl in town. As the games begin, Haymitch understands that he has been set up to fail, but there's something in him that wants to fight, and to have that fight reverberate far beyond the deadly arena. Currently, I am doing a read-along with my Patreon for the original books. Well, we're currently reading the original trilogy, then we're gonna go back and read Ballad and Songbirds and Snakes. We're doing 1 per month, and so December we're going to be reading Catching Fire, and it's been so much fun to be back in this world, to explore the nuances of this story, and it's so interesting to see how this book and the series, this world, has stood the test of time, and it is so relevant to today, even though it was written, what, 2008, something like that, so long ago, but it's so relevant. And even though the book is written for young adults, for teenagers, even like for middle school, I think you know, some kids are reading it even middle school, the messages are so clear and they're so relevant even to adults today. I have always loved Haymitch. He's one of my favorite characters, and I'm excited to get his story. All right, we're going to end on a happy little romance. And coming out on March 25th is Just Our Luck by Denise Williams. I have absolutely loved one book from her, and then her other books have just been like mid to not that great. I'm really hoping that this one will be a win. It sounds adorable. I actually met Denise in August at Steamy LitCon, and she was talking about this book because it had just been sent to beta readers, I think, at that point. And so she was still like, you know, it was very fresh in her mind, and it sounds just adorable. So cute. A lottery ticket plus donuts equals love in this steamy new fake dating romance. Who needs love? Not Sybil Sweet. After years of bouncing from job to job in search of something that feels right, and from man to man in search of something that feels special, Sybil is embracing her role as the directionless, floundering member of the family. A mood, honestly. All she really wants is a little financial stability and some carb comfort. Also a mood. Lucky for her, she's got just enough in the bank to buy a lottery ticket, and the late night donut store is open. Kieran Anderson abandoned his dreams of becoming a doctor to take over running his family's bakery, and after 2 years of fighting a losing battle to save the place, he's exhausted and broke. But when a whirlwind of a woman sweeps in late one night, flirty energy gives way to more, until she runs out the next morning, leaving behind her winning lottery ticket. Lucky for Kieran, his attempt to return the ticket looks like a grand romantic gesture and goes viral, sending sales through the roof. In an effort to keep the store afloat and to get Sybil's family off of her back, they agree to fake a relationship for 3 months. Even with hundreds of millions of dollars, finding each other might end up being the sweetest bit of luck for both of them. It sounds sweet, it's a rom-com. I have a lot of heavy reads that I'm planning based on like content and things like that, and so having something this light and fluffy and sweet is gonna be a really nice palate cleanser, and it sounds cute. Okay, so those are some of the books that I am excited about. Obviously this is not an exhaustive list. There are so many books coming out in the next 3 months, so let me know down below a book that you are really excited for that's coming out in the first quarter of 2025. And if you're not feeling chatty, you gotta do a donut emoji. I do these videos every single quarter where I talk about my most anticipated releases of the next couple of months. So if you wanna look at last quarter's, I'm gonna leave my video right here. You can check it out. Those books just came out, or they are about to, so check that out. And if you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little button that you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, and my Patreon are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!